Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Welcome to the board. So Greta is a junior and she'll be with us for all of 2025. So she'll be here for the remainder of her junior year and through the first part of her senior year, which is kind of like the flow that we have for our student board reps so that they can have some overlap with the outgoing senior and then also be here for like a full calendar year cycle. So Greta, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? Put you on the spot.
Well, I'm Greta. I'm a junior. There's not much else to me. I play volleyball and softball. I'm on National Honor Society. I'm in the Unified Club, and now I'm the student school board rep. So that's about what I've got going for me.
Awesome.
That is a lot.
For sure. Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time to add this to your plate.
Yes.
Look forward to having you. Okay, and now we get to seat our new official board member for District 4. Which is Quinn McClowan.
McClellan.
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 Yeah, like
Well,
CLONE.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. So now we got that out of the way. Everybody knows how to pronounce it, McClellan.
Yeah, it's like that, yeah.
okay.
I knew it wasn't exactly like it was spelled, so thanks for correcting that. Okay, so it is an honor that you are elected to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in the position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public school. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board member, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community school to advance the vision of our public schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Okay. So now, Quinn, you get to put up your right hand and you've got a copy of this right down here.
Yeah, but
So you get, now I would like you to read off that piece right there where you say, I swear, or / affirm.
Okay, well, having signed the acceptance of the office and the oath of office, I hereby publicly affirm my commitment to the oath of office. I swear, affirm, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of the Independent School District number 166 to the best of my judgment and ability.
All right. Congratulations.
Who?
Relay was.
Oh, I remember doing that.
You know, like to mix it up, I guess.
Huh. Wow.
So there you go. You got all the pop in circumstance. Okay, so now we're gonna move on with the agenda. So 4.0 is to approve the meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. Okay, 5.0 is the organization of the board. So before we jump into this, I'm just gonna kind of explain how this works. And then we'll go from there. And if there are any questions or whatever, we can ask before we get started. So we're gonna elect each officer in the order outlined here. The chair, the clerk, and the treasurer. Each election will have the same format, and we'll just do one at a time. So anyone can nominate anyone, including yourselves. There's no motion required to make a nomination, so we don't need like a second or anything like that. Just nomination is as it is. You are available to decline a nomination if you become nominated and you don't want to serve. That is okay. I'll ask 3 times for nominations, so it'll sound a little funny, but that's the process. So it'll give ample opportunity to nominate if you so choose. If we just have 1 nominee for a role, then that person will just be elected by acclamation. If we have 2 or more, then we will have a vote, and we'll do a vote by a show of hands. It'll just be like, who all votes for candidate A, you raise your hand, who all votes for candidate B, raise your hands, and then whoever has the majority of the votes is elected.
And if we do that, then Kay needs to document who voted for who.
Yep. So the clerk, it has to go in the minutes, so keep your hand up long enough for Kay to write down the vote tally. And then, yeah, we'll just repeat that process for each office. Any questions or anything about that? Okay. All right, so let me grab my script here. Okay, so nominations are now open for the office of board chair.
I nominate Dan Shirley.
Okay, Dan has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for the board chair? Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Okay, if there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of chair are closed. Being only 1 nomination, me, Dan, is elected by acclamation. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to 5.2, which is the election of board clerk. And right now, Rena is the clerk.
I am.
That was Stephanie.
No,
Stephanie was the clerk. Okay,
I was gonna say, I didn't sign anything last year.
okay, yeah, Stephanie was the clerk, so that seat, that office is open, so to speak. Okay. Nominations are now open.
Maybe.
Yes.
Or just a refresher, you could talk about what the clerk does.
Yes.
Or doesn't.
Sure. So the clerk is, well, if you read the statute for what the clerk is supposed to do, there's a lot of things that in practice you don't do. Those are delegated to the business office to do a lot of those things, like the note taking, for instance, like Kay does that throughout the meetings, even though that's a duty of the office of the clerk. In practice, what the clerk does is they sign a lot of things. So all the documents that we take action or whatever on get signed a lot of times by the clerk. The clerk is, because we don't have a vice chair, like if the board chair isn't at a meeting, the clerk will run the meeting in their absence. That's kind of the bulk of it.
Is there I'm gonna ask a practical question. Is
Yeah.
there a handiness to have one of you guys from Grand Marais do it just because they're local? Says
Occasionally, yes.
miles away.
Occasionally, there's most of the things that they sign are here at the board meeting, at the end of the meeting, it's just a quick shh. But on occasion, there's these random one-offs where it's like,
Have a specific due date before the
Right.
board meeting.
And those can often be like e-sign too, like if you have access to like a
or scan it to you and scan back.
it. So, but yeah, it is mostly at the meeting, signing all the papers. So that's kind of, yeah, those are kind of the nuts and bolts of it. So since we don't have somebody currently in that office, to potentially continue,
That was Stephanie.
we can take, before we start opening up nominations, if anybody wants to like send up a smoke signal about their interest in the office, we can do it that way, or else we're just gonna start picking on you. Which is fine too.
We can't nominate you again. Oh, just
You can that's a good question. You can't hold multiple offices. So like the treasurer and clerk have to be separate people. Apparently that has come up. I just heard from MSBA.
Okay.
So they do have to be separate.
Suppose it
people.
would undermine democratic principles to have a chair,
Right.
clerk, treasurer position.
It might,
Separation of duties.
yeah. Okay, so nominations are now open for the office of clerk.
want to nominate myself because I really don't want to be treasurer.
Oh, interesting tactic. Okay, so,
Sorry.
Gary's done both.
Carrie has been nominated for the office of clerk. Are there any further nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any further nominations for the office of clerk? Are there any further nominations for the office of clerk? Okay, if there are no further nominations, nominations for the office of clerk are closed. And being there's just one nomination, Carrie Jansen is elected clerk by acclamation. Congratulations.
Have two officers.
That was pretty steep.
Yeah, that was an interesting strategy.
It's not so sneaky because I said it out loud. If I were trying to be sneaky, I'd be a little more discreet about it.
Okay, so next up, 5.3 is the election of the board treasurer. The board treasurer is, well, Carrie, do you want to give a synopsis since you're here?
It's sort of like checks and balances, doing your check register, and Teresa does a really, really nice job, and you have your beautiful reports, and you go through and check everyone, make sure that they're aligned, and they almost always are, and then you sign your name. And it's not really that awful, it's just I have discovered about myself that B-level things that are not on fire, I can push off kind of a long time and feel bad about it then.
I was treasurer for 4 years. Just gonna say it. And I think the one thing that I would say is a good thing for somebody that's new on the board or that hasn't done it is it does allow you to see all the places we're spending money. Because what you're basically doing is looking at a list of checks for the month and comparing them back to make sure that they're all there. And they say what they say they are. So it's a check and balance because we only have one financial person in the office. And so you can't divide that role. So the board member kind of just does that to satisfy the audit. So I don't know if you're interested in doing that. It probably takes about half an hour once or twice a month. I think maybe not even that long.
If you were to do it twice a month, you probably wouldn't feel as guilty about how you organize your.
I would say that during COVID, I didn't do it for several months and then it wasn't all online and I had to take all the boxes of stuff home. And I spent my first 2 days of retirement, 16 straight hours catching up for about a year and a half.
It is all on Google, so like you don't have to be in the office or anything.
Yeah, you just open it up and check,
Okay.
check.
I've served as clerk as well, or
Treasurer.
treasurer, excuse me, and it was not virtual or online at that point. You actually had a box of things.
And you came in the office and had to pull them all out and look at them.
But it
Now it's
was,
online.
it was valuable to me. It's early in my board service as well. So we're kind of looking over here at this end of the table right now. So it's not super onerous, but it's a good way to see where the flow of the cash is. And it's helping us satisfy our like oversight duties, you know? So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would,
I'm gonna nominate you. Don't worry.
yeah, I mean, that's, I would be open to that, except for I just feel like I also have to figure out the whole just being a board member part, so I don't know. If you told me I could be the treasurer in like 6 months,
Yeah.
then that would be like a for sure thing, but then again, I guess I should have gone for clerk.
Strategy of you. Too late.
But yes,
Comical.
Well, and Eric, you haven't been
Yeah, I don't wanna be a officer.
no interest.
Nope.
Okay, so you're gonna decline the nomination, it
Yep.
sounds like. Okay, so nominations are now open for the office of treasurer.
I nominate Quinn McClone. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay?
if you had said it wrong, would it not?
Yeah.
No, but I really do want to get your name right.
Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? If there are no other further nominations, nominations for the office of treasurer are closed. Being one nomination for Quinn McClone, he is hereby elected by acclamation. Congratulations, you'll do great.
And thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's all understood that I'll need a little hand holding on that to start.
No,
That's fine.
Teresa will guide you
Teresa is
right through
really
it.
good.
Of all the board officer roles for a new board member to take on, this is completely achievable. So.
You really just, and it's a great opportunity to ask questions. Like, what is this facility that we paid, you know, like, what are we paying this for? Why did you spend $67,000 on that?
Right. Okay, so moving right along here, 6.0 is the organizational board business. 6.1 is to do a review of our policy 209, which is the code of ethics. So
Linked in your board agenda tonight.
it's linked in here. I know that you guys all want to hear me read
Yes,
another long thing. But maybe what I'll do instead of reciting this to you is trust that everybody will take the time to read it all. And just kind of think about what this means. Even if you've read it before, it's worth reading again. And it's just a good annual reminder and different things jump out to you each time you read it, I think. So please review that. And take it to heart. Okay, 6.2 is to establish the time and meeting place of our board meetings. In the packet is a proposed calendar. Mr. Lindholm, would you like to walk us through this?
Sure. Be happy to, Mr. Chair. So in general, our board has met in recent years, the last 3 years, the first Thursday of each month and the third Thursday of each month. The first Thursday being a work session when the board does not make any decisions but studies and discusses things. And then the business meeting on the third Thursday of each month as a general rule at 5 o'clock here. Exceptions to that rule are in July, we don't do a work session because it's July. We want to have some summertime. We also have in the past few years not done a December work session because it's the holidays, and instead we have met for a social gathering sometime around the first week of December. So those are the 2 months when we've not done a work session. You'll note that in October and March, the work sessions are in blue. And that's indicating that those two are in Grand Portage, which is part of our policy tied to that. So we actually drive up there, have a meal, have a community engagement time. The other exceptions to where things have been moved, this current month, we moved this meeting to the 9th. We moved our this is our organizational meeting and work session on the 9th. Then our regular meeting on the 23rd due to a conflict with the MSBA conference on the 16th and 17th. And then we have a retreat scheduled for the 30th. So those are kind of outliers. And then in March, you will note that there is a work session on the second Thursday rather than the first. And that is because I will be in New Orleans at the AASA conference this year.
Isn't there some, one of these meetings like this fall, isn't there some conflict that we had to like try to find a date and stuff over some food bank or something? Or was that just a one-off where that's not an annual exact at the same time?
Was that Eats?
Was that Eats? Because we will have a conflict in this calendar, November, I'm sorry. Let me think about that for a second.
Eats is March 6th.
Eats is March 6th, so by moving we avoid that
Okay.
by moving it there. And then was it
Maybe it wasn't fall, they kind of blend together, but I remember there was a whole thing with LIEC, you remember? when we
Yeah,
were
I
like-
do.
And we just like,
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, there's, I don't know.
Hard to remember.
Did it have to do
Hard to
something with
remember,
the
yeah.
referendum?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I could probably just Google or look at my email, but
So this is the proposed calendar. Note that December is also a meeting, the second Thursday, not the third, and that's just because we cancel the work session and we get out of there. We don't butt up the winter break that way and
Sure.
avoid that.
What are the red boxes for?
Those are holidays when we can't have a meeting,
Okay,
Juneteenth and the MEA conference.
okay.
So I think I voiced this summer. Is August that necessary?
Well, it's beginning of the school year, so it can be.
It could be, and I would say this,
It was
this,
pretty light. Like, I think there was like 3 of us here.
I think Eric, you're right last year, but I think this year we're going into a referendum.
Referendum stuff.
We're gonna have stuff on the plate. We're gonna have to meet and by that time be making decisions.
Maybe I have like that, like, gosh, I remember that COVID August.
Right.
We're really not
We'll go there.
light.
I think I blocked that one.
And this is, so what we need to do here is adopt a calendar, you know, it sounds like this is all gonna be okay. It doesn't mean that this can't be.
You can always move a
We can move a meeting if it comes up, otherwise this is what we're gonna, this is our starting point. You can populate your personal calendars with these dates and, yeah, if something comes up, just change it, so.
And if you find that you have a conflict, if you miss a meeting, it's not,
Right,
nobody's looking down on you.
yep, that's,
Except the voters.
yep.
Maybe.
Will they even watch and know?
Just need quorum.
Okay, so we will just need a motion then.
I'll make a motion for the calendar.
I'll second, Rena can.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, 6.3 is to approve staff to conduct electronic funds transfers. So the proposal is to approve the ISD 166 business manager as the district district staff eligible to conduct electronic fund transfers for 2025.
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 6.4 is to appoint and approve the board assignments for 2025. So these are our committees and liaisons. Positions that we participate in outside of these meetings. So, if you've got the slate in front of you here, this is the slate that we had last year. Our policy says that the way that this is determined is just the board chair assigns people. Although we have a history of that being a little bit more democratic than that based on people's interests, et cetera. So, that being said, as a starting point here, I would, well, first of all, we need to insert Quinn and remove Stephanie. And I would be inclined to give people, you know, sort of the opportunity to continue in assignments that they currently have if they would like to. Or if they definitely don't want to, you know, speak
So-
up.
I would like to go back onto the CCEA negotiations.
Okay. Yep, Stephanie's not on that, won't be on that anymore. Okay. That would make sense to me.
So these other negotiation teams are not, this is not the year for them, right?
So the confidential employees is, we're gonna do that this year. And then the principal, we are not, and the Teamsters, we are not. So those two are kind of, and, you know,
Unless something comes
unless
up.
something comes up. So we'll appoint people to those spots, so.
Didn't we do that last year? Confidential employees?
We did do them.
So you do them again?
No, not confidentials, we didn't do last year.
Oh, what was I doing?
Sometimes we do things inadvertently later than we planned. So it kind of feels like it runs over.
Carrie's exactly right. So what
So what
happened?
were you doing? Well, who was that?
So here's the way the flow works. This is a funding year going into the legislature, right? So they're setting a 2-year budget. So most often in districts, not always, but most often, the teachers group, because they're the most costly, leads the process. And that doesn't start until their contract has expired, essentially. And the legislature has determined how much they're gonna increase our budgets, right? And so then you're negotiating in the fall with teachers with an expired contract, right? So that, let's say we settled then in January and we do back pay. Then we start the confidential. So what you probably remember is we were getting towards the end of a whole year of an expired contract and starting a second year of a contract before we were negotiating with confidential
Getting like
employees.
retroactive pay once we,
Right. So it feels like it was just a year ago, and you're probably right. It was probably about 15 months ago, 14 months ago.
Oh, I thought it was just like 6 months ago.
It was longer than
feels like it sometimes.
Huh.
I haven't done CCEA in like 6 years. I'd be interested in that as well if it was not stepping on someone's toes.
Okay,
So I really love contracts.
um,
And I'd happily, if confidential employees are up, I'd happily like switch with someone
okay,
if they're really interested in negotiating a contract.
Those are the two that are up. So
Well,
I
that's what
wouldn't
it said.
encourage anyone to do
That's what I'm saying
both.
is like,
Teresa, right?
yeah, and it'll be, I would. I would entertain that request. I'm interested in keeping on in that position as well. It's gonna be kind of a heavy lift on that negotiation process this year. Which is, I guess, just something to be aware of going into it, you know, because it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a longer, a little bit of perhaps maybe a more challenging one. Due to the state of affairs. So that would just be something to consider. Which I'm certainly up for. Let's circle back to that. The
Community ed has to be
community ed,
and Teamsters.
community ed advisory board, I think Stephanie is not gonna be here anymore, obviously, for that. I would submit that that would be a good one for Quinn to take over. Basically, that person is with, it's a group of mostly community members and the community ed events in the state. And it's like a feedback loop for community ed.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I looking at these before and seeing when that was open, I felt like that looked like something within my
Yeah,
ability level.
yeah, I think that would be in your wheelhouse for sure. And it's, I think, on Zoom.
Okay.
So that one's a pretty
Hasn't
easy
been
one.
recently. Actually, they changed back.
Every 2 months, and it's
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, so it's like the second of Thursday.
Has it been in person or?
Yeah, we have been meeting in person.
Oh, you have been,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's if I can get there, 8:02 after I drop off. my
Yeah,
kids,
or
then that
Zoom.
works.
That's why they did it at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Drop off your kids, stay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let me see here. Eric, I'm assuming that the LIEC is still good for you. And the North Shore Collaborative, Rena?
Well, I've been doing it for a few years
Mhm.
and I don't mind continuing. I think did they decide to meet less? Chris, you remember that last year? Anyway,
It seems like it.
it only meets quarterly and it might be meeting less. And
and are you
basically,
actually traveling to them? The years that I did it, there was almost always virtual. But
it's virtual. I think one time a year. Now you have to go like
To the courthouse here in town, right?
Yeah, yeah, because it's public meetings, so you have to go to a public place. So
I'm just asking because it says involves travel to Tofty and Beaver Bay, and that wasn't my experience.
we went to Silver Bay one time.
Yeah, the last one was in here at the courthouse.
Yeah, yeah. It's, it's a pot of money and you look at grants. You're giving out money, basically. And trying to make sure that the money is being spent with the intent that it should be.
Yeah, and it's a joint powers board, and so you
Like,
vote Yep,
And it's during the day.
during the day.
It's always in the morning, like 9 o'clock. So
Um,
nobody wants to do it, I can keep doing it. I think there's value to having been on the board and the previous discussions, so.
agreed, for sure. Well, I would agree with that if you're up for it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you, Rena.
Thanks. Back when I served on that board, it was once a month in person.
Really?
Yep. I know,
The
thankfully,
pot of money's gone way down, so it's becoming less and less of
yeah,
a issue.
sure. The advisory council is typically the board chair for the YMCA, which I'm happy to continue to do. In that piece, let's see,
And the Minnesota State High School League.
the Minnesota State High School League is basically a
Formality.
placeholder, so fine to continue in that as well as if it comes up. I haven't ever had to do anything with that. Okay, and then you've got the project oversight committee for the construction project, which has me and Rena on it, and I think that's good.
Those are meetings during the business day too,
Yep.
which is part of the issue.
And let's see, so, all right, so let's get back to the negotiations teams here.
Teamsters is on there.
So Teamsters, Stephanie is out.
It's not a negotiating year.
Let's see.
You can put me in there as a placeholder. I love like contract negotiations is like a fascinating thing to me.
Let's see, so,
If you want to plug me in, I'm fine with that.
okay.
I probably won't be doing anything.
No, well, yeah, we're not gonna do anything on this, but
That was an interesting one this year.
so, well, so here's the thing, Carrie.
Mhm.
I don't think that we're gonna put you on every negotiation team.
No, I don't think I should. I don't think I should be. I just, if you have to put a name on an empty spot,
Sure,
if it happens to come up, it's something I enjoy doing, so I don't have a problem with it.
sure.
But if Quinn wants to be on the empty spot, that's not really gonna be,
I think
I don't want
that,
to do anything.
that might make
It's
sense.
fine with me.
To put Quinn on that, and then, you know, we're gonna talk about this again next year, and that will be a year to do negotiations. You probably don't want to being brand new to the board, you probably don't want to jump right into a full-on negotiation session. There's a lot coming at you, but after a year or two, for sure.
So what happened, I mean, just in this Teamsters, if that contract isn't being negotiated, does this just mean that doesn't?
You don't do
Nothing.
anything.
You don't do anything.
Okay, that's, yeah, I didn't know, okay.
Yeah,
Unless there's some major issue.
Yeah.
We have to come to the table and it's on probably just one issue.
Yeah,
there could potentially be like some sort of a grievance or something that
Yeah,
right.
happens, or like an MOU gets developed or something that you would maybe participate in
yeah.
as a result.
Not likely.
But not impossible.
But not impossible.
Okay, so we'll do that. Here. The principal contract isn't up either. Okay, and so, yeah, so we just, Eric. Confidential employees.
Sure.
Contract. Do you want to continue to do that?
So just so I'm clear, that meets, because I was looking at my email, it says we met like in February of this year, so it starts in the fall, then you do it in 26.
Technically, their contracts are up June 30th.
Oh,
So we could leave with them if we wanted.
gotcha, okay.
So we have to.
But that's how it ends up feeling like.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't
Right.
nuts, because I was like, this just happened a
You're
few months ago.
not nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And maybe, but not about this.
Your memory has not failed you.
All right.
Okay, so. So the other, yeah, so then the question here, Carrie, is which one of these two,
Do you two do?
do we do? It's kind of the CCA and the confidential. Which I would be fine with us swapping for this round.
Yeah, I like that. It's been a while since like I said, it's been like 6 years since I've done the
Sure.
teacher. When
I mean, I
connected to that.
I think that there's something to be said for the continuity of doing it, for sure. Which is just what gives me a little bit of pause, but I'm willing to swap around. And I haven't done the confidential team before.
I feel like I've been on the confidential employees, that one for quite a long time. I have, which is wonderful to have like the historical memory, but also it's nice to understand all the contracts.
Well, and as this plays out, let's see, so I think that's all
Well,
of
and
them.
you're a teacher.
Well, that can be a not there, but yes, I do understand the role.
Well, and as this plays out, if it becomes an issue for whatever reason, you know, we can adjust midstream or whatever, so.
Yeah.
So are you putting
So,
yourself on confidential?
yeah,
Got it.
me and Eric on confidential. And Rena and Carrie on CCEA.
And luckily Eric's quite fresh on confidential.
Yeah, well, it just happened a few months ago.
And Quinn on
Teamsters.
Teamsters. And we'll just keep Carrie and Rena on the principal contract for now.
Kay has caught it all in real time here, so.
Okay, all right.
I'll jump on principal if it, I mean, when it comes to it, if you're busy, I can jump on principal too. I don't mind. Just a thought for future.
I'm not married to any of them. I just like them.
Well,
I
let's-
personally like switching around on them because then you're like,
Well,
oh, I
let's-
kind of know what every
Let's
role
put
is.
Eric on principal right now,
Yeah, you can take me on,
okay? Well,
because you know what? I think the CCEA is a lot of work.
it is.
I mean, as I recall, there's been a lot of meetings
Mhm.
and a lot of time doing
sure.
that, so I'm not,
Oh, you're on Teamsters anyway, okay.
So, okay, so we'll put Eric in place of Rena on the principal contract. Great, and we don't need to take action on this based on the way that our policy's written.
Oh, okay.
I don't, it's.
You're correct. You're
It's
correct.
the board chairs gets to assign the role, so
You're correct.
they're biased assigned. Okay, so. Thank you for working through that. All right, so 6.5 is to establish the compensation rates for school board members. Current compensation is listed here in the packet. Which is an annual stipend of $3,300. Paid to all board members. Board chair receives an additional $700 stipend. And appointed contract negotiators will receive $35 per negotiation meeting. And then mileage rate will be paid at the current IRS rate if they are submitted for reimbursement for all meetings in and out of the district. That's current rate.
I would make a motion that we leave that
Okay,
at the current rates, based on the fact that we did raise our compensation last year.
We raised it to 3,300? That seems like a weird number.
do we have a second?
That's like,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, discussion?
Oh, sorry. Why did we choose 3,300 last year? Were we just like haggling or what?
I don't know.
I think it was like a specific, like a $500 increase or,
Oh.
you know, it was like compared to what we already had.
And divisible by 4.
Quarterly.
Yeah.
Oh,
quarterly.
okay. 3,300 is divisible by 4?
I think so.
Do good math.
I think you were kind of the impetus.
So
behind
is
this, too.
4,000 when you add the 700.
825 per quarter.
There you go.
And that, okay, any further discussion?
What's the 700?
Share stipend.
Fair stipend.
Oh, I get you. Maybe that was it. Oh, I get it. Okay. Something divisible by 4, but then yeah.
It's for the additional sleepless nights.
And we hadn't
Wow,
done a
heard.
pay increase for like a really long time and then did one last
We did
year,
one
which is
last
why
year.
I'm in agreement with Rena. It's like.
Yeah.
For sure. All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, 6.6 is to approve the financial institutions. And the recommendation is to approve the Marais State Bank, Minnesota Trust with PMA, MSDLAF, and the North Shore Federal Credit Union.
MSBLA, oh, it says right there, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial institution.
So I'll second.
And I just point out that there's not a change here. These are the folks that we've always worked with here. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. 6.7 is to approve the Cook County News Herald's proposal for publication of public notices as our newspaper of record. They have a proposal in the packet. Rates are the same as they've been.
I'll make a motion to approve the News Herald as our official newspaper.
I can second that.
Any further discussion? And just for your benefit, we have to publish things like our minutes and like meetings and things of that nature, so we have to have an official newspaper to do that in. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and then 6.8 is to authorize the superintendent, the board chair, and the district office personnel on behalf of the superintendent as the contacts to as the personnel who can contact legal counsel on behalf of the district.
This is the same as we always do, right? I'll make a motion to designate those people, the contacts for legal counsel.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, just need a motion to adjourn.
Made a motion to adjourn.
5:44. Congratulations, everybody.
Second.
Quinn and we need a quick bio break or can we roll right into the
How long are we?
how long of the
How
meeting?
long are we expecting the?
Probably another 45 minutes.
Have some signals.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Let's just
that.
go
You
through.
guys okay? Okay. Calling the work session to order here at 5:45.
All right, we're rolling. Yes, so we have a couple things. Yeah, let's end the Zoom meeting. Get organized here.